here to talk about my somewhat unconventional comfort read, Tokyo Babylon by Clamp. This is the English 2-volume set, and then this is the Japanese set. Tuesday night, I couldn't focus on anything. I was looking at my stack of books, and none of them. I needed something familiar, and so I picked up Tokyo Babylon, which is in fact one of my favorite and one of the first, I guess, manga I ever read. To give you some backstory, it is older. It was originally published. It was serialized in Japan from 1990 to 1993-ish, I want to say. The English version did not come out until 2013. I read way back in the mid-90s when I was first getting into manga and anime. Back then you had to order from a Japanese bookstore, and then either painstakingly translate it yourself or hope that somebody had posted a translation online. In my case, fortunately, someone had translated Tokyo Babylon online, and it was a very good translation. But now I'm proficient enough that I could probably read most of this without too much trouble, without having to stop and use a dictionary all the time. But that wasn't the case when I was first starting out, obviously. This manga is a story about Subaru Sumeragi. I'm gonna do it in the English way. Sumeragi Subaru. It would be how he would be named in Japanese. He is an onmyoji, which is a kind of spiritual magician. He uses magic. His job as the 13th head of the Sumeragi clan is to go out and take these jobs that usually there's like a haunting. It's kind of an exorcist, let's just say. It's a little more nuanced than that, but basically he goes around, he gets sent to jobs where somebody's experiencing some kind of supernatural phenomenon or something weird is going on, and he needs to figure out what it is and why and set it right. He's 16. He has a twin sister, Hokuto. She's actually older than him, but they had the same training. He had more gifts than she did, more spiritual gifts, and so he ended up being the head of the clan. It's not really clear. The story of their parents is not really clear, because the previous head was their grandmother, who is still kind of, she's the one who sends the jobs and tells Subaru what to do and things like that. Subaru and Hokuto live in Tokyo, and the big point of Tokyo Babylon, which I assume is a take on Hollywood Babylon, right? As far as in the 90s, and if you weren't around or if you were too young to really have a sense of the culture in the 90s, this manga really encapsulates kind of the feeling of the 90s. The whole point is that Tokyo is a bustling city with a lot of stories in it, and there's a lot of kind of moral of the story in each of the kind of episodic events in this series, about people being lonely, about people making choices because of that loneliness. That seems to be the through line. The real through line is that Subaru and Hokuto are friends with a 25-year-old veterinarian named Seishiro. Sakurazuka Sakurazuka is his last name. The joke is that he is a Sakurazuka, which is a rival clan to the Sumeragis. They are also onmyoji, but they are assassins. And the truth is they're not actually a clan. There's only ever one Sakura Zukamori at a time. And Sakurazuka, they're like, oh, Sakurazuka's, actually not an uncommon name. So obviously Seishiro isn't really, but of course, I mean, they don't try to hide it. This is not some big reveal. You can tell shady stuff is going on with Seishiro pretty early on. And he spends his time kind of secretly helping Subaru. He'll tag along on jobs under the guise of, oh, I'll give you a ride. I'll wait for you to be done so I can make sure you get home safely, kind of thing. And the truth is he's kind of there, like, helping. But he has ulterior motives, which I won't spoil it if you want to read it. This manga is also the precursor to X, if anybody is familiar with X, which is sometimes in, I think, the States known as X 1999, which was all about the end of the world at the turn of the millennium. So you may know Subaru and Seishiro from X, and this is like their pre-story. It is, like I said, one of my favorite manga, one of my favorite relationships, and there's something very cathartic about rereading it now, seeing the darkness and the hope and the different perspectives, different people who are angry and lonely and afraid, and kind of Subaru is so gentle and pure-hearted, I want to say, that there's something, it's kind of like a balm, as it were. I don't know, every now and then I need to pick it up and reread it. I definitely needed it this week, and it's chonky, but like I read them with like both of these within 3 days. I went ahead and read the English version because it's faster for me, obviously. Still, even if I want to practice my Japanese, I can read the Japanese ones, but when I just want to read, I'll pick up the English one. So yeah, I do highly recommend it if it's one you haven't read. Like I said, it's a little older, but it is, well, Clamp is one of my favorites. I started out with, Cardcaptor Sakura and Tokyo Babylon and X as my first 3 kind of forays into manga reading. So yeah, that I'm recognizing my bias here. Like it's definitely like yeah, I don't know, not quite as shoujo-y as Cardcaptor Sakura, but still definitely, because of Subaru's youth and gentleness, there's still a little bit of yeah, I don't know. I guess it's still shoujo, but I think guys could read this more readily than they might read Cardcaptor Sakura. And yeah, that's all I have to say about it. It's just, yeah, I don't know. It made me feel, nothing's gonna make me feel better. Nothing's gonna make me feel really good, but it was a good escape, and at the same time very like soothing, and I don't know, there's something about the angle or the perspective that worked at a time like this in the world. If you have favorite manga or animes, don't watch the Tokyo Babylon movies. I guess they're not great. The manga are sufficient. The X movie too, very strange. Although I hear the series was better, I just never got to see the series. Like, they never finished, if you know X, they never finished the manga series, right? It just kind of stopped. But there was, I guess, a television anime adaptation that maybe told the whole, like, finished the story. I've never seen it. I've never been able to find it anywhere streaming that I had access to. But so I don't know. Maybe that'd be worth trying to find. But if you have, like I said, manga, anime recommendations, please let me know, because they are like I'm kind of in that mood again now. I'm in that cycle. And yeah, I don't know any of the more recent stuff. Well, my Next Life as a Villainess was a good one. That's kind of the only one I can think of that I've watched recently and read recently. I mean, I'm still reading Black Butler. Those are coming out at a snail's pace, and that one seems to be petering out in a way too, so I don't know. But yeah, let me know your thoughts, if you've read it, if you have other recommendations. I'd love to hear about it. And until next time, take care.